So, Ainsley Maitland-Niles plays well in the Community Shield and gets a call-up for England. Is Gareth Southgate finally waking up to the Arsenal revolution? Hello and welcome back to my channel over and over and over again, which features everything to do with Arsenal. Now in this video I just really wanted to look at the England call-up given to Ainsley Maitland-Niles following his man of the match performance yesterday at Wembley in the Community Shield against Liverpool, and also just look at whether or not there seems to be some sort of bias against Arsenal players when it comes to playing for England. But before I get into all that, I just really want to make sure that you're all subscribing to my channel. Please click the subscribe button if you enjoy what I do. If you like this video, then please click on the thumbs up as well. And to get notifications every time I do release a new video, please click on the thumbs up icon as well. Just help me grow the channel. If you're new here, if this is your first time, hope you enjoy what I'm doing. Please check out some of my previous videos as well. There's a lot of good stuff coming up as well over the next few weeks as we move into the new season. I've got some great live shows coming up as well, including one this week on Thursday evening at 7 o'clock with a really special guest. I'll be releasing details of that very soon as well, so stay tuned for that. And I say in the meantime, please click on the subscribe button. That would be much appreciated. So in this video I'm going to look at the England call-up for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. He's been called up to the squad for the two UEFA Nation League games coming up against Iceland on Saturday the 5th and Denmark on the 8th of September. It seemed a bit of out of the blue really, didn't it? I mean, Connor Cody from Wolves got called up as well as a possible replacement, I'm assuming, for Harry Maguire, who of course has been pulled out of the squad following his incident in Greece. But Ainsley Maitland-Niles seems to have been called up as an additional player into the squad. I'm not quite sure how that's come about, but it's a great and well-deserved call-up for him. You've got to bear in mind that Ainsley has actually represented England at pretty much all the youth levels, under 17s, under 18s, under 19s, under 20s and under 21s. He's actually made 38 appearances for England across all those different youth levels, scored 4 goals. He did play in the semi-final of the under 19 Euros a few years back, and then also a year later he actually won the World Cup with the England under 20s as well. So he's been a big part of the sort of youth system at England, and this is going to be his first call-up to the full squad. Now, Ainsley, of course, was born on the 29th of August 1997, so yesterday's brilliant performance was on his 23rd birthday. He was born actually in Goodmayes, which for me is just up the road to where I'm from in Romford, so I know the area really well. Ainsley's actually from Jamaican descent, but obviously he's chose England as his international career. Now for Arsenal, he made his debut in December 2014, which was away at Galatasaray in the Champions League. It was a game that we won 4-1. If you remember, Aaron Ramsey scored that fantastic goal in that game. And his league debut was a few days later when we played Newcastle at home, where he came on as a substitute in both of those games. At the time he didn't really get much of an opportunity really at Arsenal at that time. He was still only a teenager. So for the 2015-2016 season he spent on loan at Ipswich Town in the Championship. He actually made a big impression there. He won the Ipswich Player of the Month award for September 2015. That's how good his performances were. And at the end of that season he'd made 32 appearances for Ipswich and scored 2 goals. He came back to Arsenal and he started to get more of an opportunity in the team. He made his first start in September 2016. It was an Elite Cup tie away at Nottingham Forest, which was a game we also won 4-1, and he played at right back, and it was the right back position, not necessarily his first choice position. He was originally a midfield player. He played midfield for the England sort of youth teams, but he played right back, and the right back position tended to become where he would play most of his games, certainly under Arsene Wenger, and then into Unai Emery's reign. Now he did start Unai Emery's first match in the Premier League against Manchester City at home. He actually started the game at left back, but unfortunately he suffered a broken leg in that game and he was out for a while. But later on in the season, once he was fit, he did start to play a lot more regularly in the team at right back. And then of course last year when Hector Bellerin suffered his terrible injury, Ainsley basically became the regular right back through the end of that sort of Unai Emery's period at the club as well. Now under Arteta, Ainsley was very in and out of the team. He never really held down a regular place. I think Arteta was maybe a little bit concerned about his attitude. Maybe he made it quite clear that right back wasn't his preferred position. But then when we had some big games towards the end of the season, Arteta did put his trust in Ainsley. Played him in the semi-final of the FA Cup against Manchester City, actually at left wing back. Which is a similar position that he played against Wolves. He came on in the league match at Wolves, if you remember, and did a good job on Adama Traore, didn't he, marking him out of the game. And then, of course, in the FA Cup final as well, he also played in the left wing back position. Again, had a great game. And of course, yesterday in the Community Shield, again he played in the left-sided wing back position, and again had a really good game. Was given man of the match, quite rightly so. He was outstanding. So what it proves is his versatility. So the fact he's been called up for England is maybe a reward for his versatility, actually, because he can play in a number of positions. He has done for Arsenal. He's played obviously right back in a back four. He's played left back in a back four. He's played right wing back in a three at the back. He's played left wing back. He's played central midfield. He's played right wing. So he can play in a number of different positions, which in a sense is a great thing for Arsenal and for England, but it's maybe not so good for him because he hasn't managed to establish himself as a regular starter in any position. He tends to fill in when people aren't available or for a different change of system and stuff like that. Now, Arteta did speak about him yesterday, saying that he has changed his sort of attitude and changed the way that he prepares for matches, and you can see the difference in how his performances have been. I mean, he is quite a laid-back character. It's probably the Jamaican in him, isn't it? He's very laid back, and you could see by the way he took his penalty yesterday in the shootout as well. Very, very cool, calm, and that's what he's like on the pitch. And sometimes maybe he's been a little bit too laid back, I think, sometimes, and I think fans have maybe thought, is he committed enough to the cause? But he clearly is. He was asked after the game yesterday about his future at the club, and he said his heart's at Arsenal. You know, that's where he's grown up at. So he clearly wants to stay. Arteta clearly wants him to stay because he keeps picking him in these big games. So let's hope that the club can do the right thing and get an agreement in place to make sure that he does stay at the club, although there is big interest from Wolves, of course, who have sold their right wing back Matt Doherty to Tottenham, haven't they? So they're in the market for somebody, and Ainsley obviously fits their criteria because he would be a great signing for them, I'm sure. But I do feel as though we need to keep him now, and obviously now he's got called up for England. It'd be interesting to see how that develops, you know. I'm quite curious as to find out why he suddenly got called up so late when no one else was dropped out of the squad that I'm aware of other than Harry Maguire, which of course I say Connor Cody's coming for him, so I'm not really sure why he's been called up, but it's great for him, and I say I do feel he deserves it for his performances and also for the fact that he's come through all the youth teams at England level and played for them all. So in total so far in his career for Arsenal, it was his 101st game yesterday for the club. He scored 3 goals, of course, plus the 32 games and 2 goals for Ipswich in his career. So he's made quite a lot of appearances for his age, 23 years old, but he hasn't managed to establish himself as a first team regular starter, has he, so far? So I think that needs to be his next aim. I'm not expecting him to play for England in either of those 2 games. He may possibly get on for 5 or 10 minutes here and there, depending on how the game goes, depending on injuries maybe to other players. But we'll see what happens. But hopefully this can be the start of an international career. But just going back to the point I made at the beginning about there seems to be Arsenal players, young Arsenal players, seem to take them a lot longer to get recognised by England than say the young players at other clubs. For example, Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool, clubs like that. Their young players tend to get pushed into the international scene a little bit more quickly. For an example, I mean, you've got to look at Bakayo Saka. I mean, his performance yesterday in the Community Shield was outstanding, and he would have pushed Ainsley for man of the match, I'm sure, in a lot of people's view. So he's very unlucky, isn't he, when there's not really many naturally left-sided players in the squad, and it seems strange that he maybe hasn't been given a chance. I mean, I'm fairly certain that a player who's made the same impact that Saka made last season, where he made over 30 appearances. I think he was 3rd in the most assists from every Premier League club last season. and I'm sure that had he been had a similar impact at a club like Manchester United or Chelsea, he would have already received an England call up. But because he plays for Arsenal, it seems as though he's been left behind a little bit. And I say Ainsley's only got called up now at 23, sort of 4 or 5 years into his Arsenal career, having made over 100 appearances over that time. So I don't know. And even looking back in history, actually, this is not just a recent thing. If you look back to the great Arsenal side of the sort of late 80s, early 90s, when we were winning leagues, winning cups, with a team of predominantly English players, how many of them got a regularly picked for England? I mean, even someone like Ian Wright, who was winning golden boots, regularly scoring 30 goals a season, wasn't getting regular game for England. You had people like Paul Merson, what a wonderful player. The number of England caps he got is ridiculously low. And there's just so many, isn't there? David Rocastle got very few England caps, such a great player, successful at the time at a club level. Alan Smith as well, fantastic centre forward, scored a lot of goals. He won 2 golden boots, hardly got a look in for England. There's just so many of them, and I don't know why. It seems to be Arsenal's English players seem to be left out of the England squads quite a lot, and even if they're picked in the squads, they very rarely seem to get a regular run in the team. In the whole time I've been supporting Arsenal, I can only really remember maybe 3 or 4 Arsenal players getting regularly picked for England. Obviously David Seaman was probably the main one. He was obviously the regular goalkeeper for a long part of his Arsenal career. Although if you remember, he was already an England international before he joined Arsenal, and whether that's significant or not, I don't know. Tony Adams obviously played a lot of games for England. I think he played nearly 70 caps for England, but he wasn't a regular very often, was he? He was in and out of the team quite a lot. He should have been captain of England for years, shouldn't he? He should have got well over 100 caps. And again, I'm sure if he played for a different club, he probably would have done that. The only other ones I can really remember being picked regularly was Kenny Sampson, of course, was the England left back, wasn't he, for years and years while he was at Arsenal, and Sol Campbell. But again, with Sol Campbell, he was already an England international before he came to Arsenal. So I feel as though the young England players coming through Arsenal's academy don't seem to get the same England recognition. Is that important? I don't know. It's obviously important to those players, and I do feel as though it can't be a coincidence when it's been going on for such a long period of time. Arsenal have over the years produced a number of really, really good English players have come through Arsenal's academy. Some of those that I've mentioned already that didn't maybe get many appearances for England, and there's a big batch now, isn't there, that's coming through. I say Saka, Reece Nelson, who's been playing well for the last year or so, and there's lots, isn't there? Eddie Nketiah as well, starting to get regular game time. Will he get looking for England? When you look at Tammy Abraham, for example, at Chelsea, yes, he had an impact at the start of last season with a lot of goals. He did score a few in the Championship out on loan, but he's now become a regular in the England side, while several Arsenal youngsters aren't even getting looking. So I don't know if that's true or if it isn't. There does seem to be an issue there with it. And I say, does it really matter? I'm not sure. Sometimes I think to myself, I'd rather keep all our players away from the international setup so they don't get injured and they can then produce, and tired as well, so they can produce better performances week in, week out for Arsenal, which to me is far more important anyway. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about obviously Ainsley's England call up as well. Do you think he'll get much game time in these 2 games coming up, or do you think he's just been called up as a part of the squad, and he's not Gareth Southgate isn't intending to use him necessarily? So let me know what you think about that. Let me know if you do think there has been some sort of bias against Arsenal players for England over the years. There certainly seems to be, statistically anyway, but let me know what you think about that. And also as well, like I say, as I said before, please subscribe to my channel, please like this video if you enjoy it, and look out for some great stuff I've got coming up. I'll say my live show Thursday 7 o'clock. I think tomorrow I'll be releasing the full details of that in terms of who the special guest is, and I'm sure you'll all be excited to tune in for that show as well. So that's that for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone who's been supporting the channel so far. Thanks to all my subscribers that have subscribed as well. I say, please, if you haven't subscribed yet, I am noticing actually that a lot of the views I'm getting from people that aren't subscribing. So if you watch it and you like it, please subscribe. It does help a lot, and give it a thumbs up as well if you enjoy the video. And I say, please leave any comments that you might want to add to anything that I've said. So that's that for now, and I'll say thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all again soon with another video, and of course in the meantime, come on you Gunners.